Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about some differences in apparently the same batches of rope. Um, Here are two reels of Asanawa. This one, the paler one, is from an earlier batch, and this is the most recent batch. And they both are described as having the same type of yarn, although there's a slightly different number after the colour designation. There's another number. I don't know if that's a batch number or something, but anyway, let's talk about the differences. The first thing you'll notice is the colour here. The newer stock is quite a lot darker. We'll take a look at the roping close up now. I've actually burnt one end of this, so burnt and oiled it so you can see the difference, but we'll come in close now so you can see exactly how it's made up and what the differences are. Right, as you can see, they're fairly similar twists. I'd say the old Asanawa here on the top is a slightly looser lay. You can see that the newer version, which I haven't got a name for yet, is very, very clearly defined. You can look at the plies here, you can see that these stand out very clearly. These are a lot less clearly defined. If we look really closely, we can see here that the individual threads are almost invisible here, and they're a little bit more noticeable. Let's see what they're like for resistance to opening. Well, as we know, Asanawa is fairly soft in that respect. This is way tighter. Yeah, it just snaps back. That really wants to stay closed. So I think that will probably last very well and resist overstranding. As I say, I've only just noticed this is different from the previous batch. When I got them out of the garage and into the daylight, I could see a very, very marked colour difference. The other difference is the old Asanawa here is somewhere in the region of 18.5, 18.8 grams per metre. This one comes up somewhat heavier, at about 24.5, 24.8, something like that per metre. One of the reasons is it's somewhat more dense. The other reason is, there it is. If we measure it, let's get that flat. We're somewhere around about the 6.5 mark. Might be probably a little bit more before it's been burned off. Yeah, fraction more. So about 6.6, 6.8, something like that, before it's burnt off. I think we'll find that the Asanawa is a lot closer to spec. Yeah, there we go. Pretty much bang on 6 mil. Oops, sliding off there. It's pretty tricky to measure it with this actually, but yeah, pretty close, 6 mil. So about 10% thicker is adding, some of the weight. The extra density is adding the rest. What I will do now is go into extreme close up, so you can actually see the construction of the rope itself. Okay, so let's look at the actual construction. So first off, the newer rope. This actually seems very much like the Tosa Ichiban, but it's thinner than the version that I had before, which was closer to a proper 7, maybe even a little over. Okay, so let's have a look and see how many these are all double twisted, so we've got 6, 9, looks to be 12 double twisted threads per ply. One thing that I have noticed about this is when you cut it first, it's not doing it now because it's been knotted, but interestingly, it's like some of the older Ichiban I had, it tends to want to spring apart. I don't see that as a disadvantage because, as I say, you've got this real snapback on the twist here. I don't know if it's a result of this or whether that's just the nature of the yarn. Let's try a comparison now with the old Asa. So here we've actually got one, that's a big thick one, 2, 3, looks like only 4 in this. Yeah, just 4. So I think they must have mislabeled this or something, but anyway, I shall be definitely selling that as a different product. But I think that'll be a very nice rope, and I think it'll break in much more in a much more pleasant way than the Asanawa does. But yeah, you can see there it's slimmed up, and I think that with use, I think that'll probably get a little bit longer in the lay as it stretches, and I think it'll probably thin out a bit. So what have we got now? I don't know if it's any different. Yeah, it's still, no. Yeah, it's about a 6.5 at the moment, but that's not been suspended on, so I might try and get them to make a slightly thinner version of this as well. Although I have to say 6.5 is probably a lot better in terms of strength than 5mm for Western size models. Okay, so there you have it. I'll be listing that a little bit later. I'll think of a fancy name for it.